I'm here with Richmond head coach Chris Mooney. I appreciate the time. How are you feeling? Welcome back. I feel, coming back at such a peaceful time when I know you have nothing to do. But just, how is it kind of returning and how are you doing?
I feel great, thank you. I'm about 7 weeks or so post surgery, and have really been lucky to be feeling pretty good since we left the hospital. Happy to be back, and as you said, it's get thrown right into it here because this is the busiest, most hectic time of the year at this point.
Absolutely. And, thinking of obviously this offseason, this time, as you mentioned, talking to all coaches, it is a hectic time. But for you and kind of Richmond, what you're looking for, is there any, I don't want to say strategy, but just how you kind of navigate again, these new waters have been around, but obviously the portal, recruiting, high school, what are you looking at in terms of kind of continuing to further Richmond basketball?
Yeah, I mean, I think you always, we always start with we're just looking for the best players we can get who fit at Richmond. I mean, that's a general answer, but you don't want to get too far away from that because it might be a high school player. It could be somebody in the portal. It could be somebody that you recruited earlier, or that you have a relationship with, or somebody brand new from a different part of the country. So, but that's the main focus is can we get good players who fit in at Richmond, and you have to take the strategy from there. So the positions where you might have need obviously take precedence, but with this portal and how quickly everything goes, you have to just really do so much homework in such a quick amount of time on so many players. So it's pretty work intense and time consuming to make sure that you might do a lot of work just to decide, well, we don't really have interest in that player, but that's taken a few hours to figure that out. And so with how quickly everything is moving, every minute counts, and every bit of work counts.
Absolutely. And, you look at this past season, obviously coming off your, the Atlantic 10 championship, the tournament run, going into this next, again, the season coming up, what did you like from this past year? And what are some of the areas specifically that, all right, you guys got to improve and again, kind of build back up to that point where you guys were, a year ago?
I would say that, I think Neil Quinn, it was a bright spot for us. I think the guys that we were able to bring in via the transfer portal, compared to the rest of college basketball, we probably had very few transfers in or out during my tenure before this portal era. So I think that we were, good and competitive and tough. We probably spent most of the time really highly ranked on our offensive efficiency. And I would say that this year we weren't nearly that potent an offensive team as we've been in the past, or as efficient an offensive team. Generally have great statistics in terms of assists or assist to turnover ratio. And this year we kind of struggled in those areas a little bit. So, that's one thing I think that, overall team speed probably wasn't quite as good as it has been. And then those offensive areas, I feel like we just weren't quite as good as the usual Richmond team.
Yeah. And, obviously with this year, with what happened, I look at the staff. I always, I've talked, like I said, I've talked to all these head coaches, and obviously it's a crazy time. And oftentimes, I don't want to say, I know you guys don't, but you kind of forget again about these assistant coaches, you especially, even with what happened this past season, not that you probably needed an extra appreciation for your staff, but just how important that is for you, for a program, kind of as a backbone to what you're doing, not just recruiting wise, but obviously, X's and O's as well.
Yeah, I mean, the staff is just, the players are the most important by far, but then after that is the coaches that you have. We've always kind of tried to base our model on that. I would hire the coaches who care the most, who have the capability to care the most about the players, and that are available to the players, that can help them on and off the court, that are there to listen. And these guys, we have a great staff right now. Richmond's a great place to work, and it's been a pretty stable place. So I think it's attractive in that way. But we've been able to really have a great group of coaches. And when something like this happens, that happened to me this year, that really comes to the forefront of just how critical it is and how big of a role those guys play.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I want to get into kind of all of these changes, and I know it's quick, but I know also, like I said, you have a lot of time. I don't want to take too much of your time, so I appreciate it. I know we'll do this again once rosters are set. Leading up to next season. I love doing kind of this coaching series with you guys. I know it's an in between period, but I appreciate you taking the time, and it's just great to see you back.
Absolutely. I really appreciate it. Look forward to joining you when things have settled down a little bit.
Definitely.